Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I'd like to welcome you out to the shed of many names on this late beautiful evening. Last video for today, because I wanted to make sure and wait to bust out the dehydrators at the dehydrator out at the end. Now this is going to be a double 2 different batches to dehydrate on the same dehydrator. Okay, I was posed a question. For the life of me, I can't remember. I have dehydrated so much stuff in my lifetime. I couldn't remember if I've done dandelion leaves, which I think I have, but I've slipped since then. So, with that being said, I got a handful of dandelion leaves. I don't want to try to dehydrate too many. Should be able to do it without any problem, but I'd rather not waste a bunch of it and find out that no, you can't. I can't honestly remember. But with that being said, I've got some of my celery here now. I've got to pick through some of it. It's starting to look a little rough because somebody close to me put my container of celery in the sunlight. Bad, really bad, but it's still going to work. I have washed them very good. I'm going to have to pick through them, make sure there's no bad pieces on there. But you know what? It's still going to dehydrate just fine. Let's move that over there. And I want to match up fairly the same length. Now, the leaves have wilted and kind of dried. Still fine to dehydrate. They're not slimy green. If they're slimy green, it means they're rotten or starting to decompose. Do not use them. Yes, the celery is limp, even though it was in water. Guess what? It is still perfectly fine. It will still dry perfectly. I'm hoping to get at least 2 trays full. We shall see. And I'm going to move the camera so y'all can actually see what's going on. And I'm going to try to get them in as small pieces as I can. They're young, so they will dehydrate nicely. Let me tell you, I absolutely love dehydrated celery. There is so much you can do with it. It can be added to soups. It can be rehydrated and added to like tuna fish. Yes, I put celery in my tuna fish. You could also dehydrate it and powder it up. Especially if you've got them family members that are picky, you know. They'll never know that they're eating it. They'll never know. Believe me, I know that trick all too well. Now, I do have my silicone mats on my dehydrator. Now, if you don't have the silicone mats, you can use parchment paper, not wax paper, and poke a bunch of holes in it, so little holes like with the toothpick. That way it can get airflow. And you're just going to take your chopped up celery. Oops. Let's see. Hold on a minute, I forgot my lid. Okay, to make life easier on you, take a canning jar lid, cover, especially if you have the round tray dehydrator. If yours is the square, you don't have to worry about it. But take that lid, cover that hole, that way you don't have to worry about stuff falling through. Just when you get your tray filled and you go to fill the next tray, remove the lid. You cannot block that hole. I ain't going to tell you how wonderful this smells. And let me tell you, it tastes so good. There is nothing like homegrown celery. And another thing I like to do with dehydrated celery is my homemade rice mixes. Especially if they're like Cajun. Yes, you know you got to have your garlic, your celery, and your onions. You know, the Holy Trinity. You don't want to forget about that. Now here's one that has a little bit of a bad spot. I'm going to cut up to it and cut that out. Put it in my compost pile bowl. And that way when I go back home, I'm just going to toss it right into the compost. And you want to make little pieces. Now, if you don't have the blessing of homegrown celery, you can use organic store-bought or at a farmer's market if you know if the person that's selling it is reputable and you know where that celery comes from. You want to make sure that all your leaves look good. And see, here's a bad leaf. See, you can tell the difference with that one. You can tell it's starting to decompose. You don't want to use that. Just pinch those tips off, and that way you don't waste anything. Waste not, want not, y'all. And with what's coming up, you don't want to waste anything. Now, here I have a little limp celery. Guess what? Nothing's wrong with that. It's still going to dehydrate just perfectly fine. Now, when doing stuff like this, I'd rather work up instead of trying to scoot it along. Just take your time. Sometimes you cannot go fast. And you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'd rather get the job done correctly than in a rush. Because if you rush, you're going to make a mistake and mess everything up. And said anything bad, just pinch it off and put it to the side. Oh my gracious, that smells good. And remember, it's going to shrink down, y'all. It's going to shrink down quite a bit. And see, there's nothing wrong with this. This had just dried, and when I washed it, it rehydrated. So it don't look great, but guess what? There ain't a single thing wrong with that. Not a single thing. Alright, I'm going to finish cutting my celery up, and I'm going to bring you back when I get started on the dandelion leaves. See you here in a bit. Okay, time to get started on the dandelion greens. Now, I picked a couple bad ones just to show you. See how this one is yellowed? It's not good to use. You want to put that in the compost bucket. This one has a little bit of a brown edge. You don't want to use that. Right, that one's good. That one's good. Little guy's good. That one's good. And you're going to keep going through them. I'm not sure who had asked. I can't remember. But we're going to do this little experiment. And we're going to see if you can dehydrate dandelion greens. Which you should be able to without any problem. As long as you got good, organic, pesticide-free dandelions. And you don't want to strip every leaf off your plant either. Okay, now I have noticed that the ends have gotten a little brown, so off they go. I have my lid on my tray. I'm going to cut them up. They should dry without any problem. At least, see, there's another bad one, yellow. That one just has that one section of yellow. Get on there. Any little pieces of dirt, just go on and wipe those off. Because you can think you got it all, but it'll fool you. Now see that tip is yellow, but the rest of the stem is green. I look at it as waste not, want not. But it's just got too many little places it's going bad on it. Okay. That piece went bad. Or was bad. Okay. Cut those ends off. The question I was asked was about dehydrating them and powdering them up and adding them to smoothie mixes or like green powder, super green powder mixes. I don't see why you couldn't. We're going to find out. Because, yeah, I'm always up for a challenge. Alright, I'm going to finish these up. And I will bring you back as soon as I am done with them. It looks like I'm going to get a couple of trays. So I'm happy. Little piece of celery. Thought it was going to escape. Alright, I'll bring you back here in a bit. Okay, I got my dehydrator plugged in. Lid goes on top. vegetables, since that's what the bottom two trays are, celery, we're going to want it to be see, I'm going to dehydrate. I'm going to start it at 12 hours. I can always increase it. And I want it at 125. Start it and forget it. Alright. I will bring you back as soon as these are dry, and I will let you know how long it took. It shouldn't take too much because I put the celery on the bottom and it'll get the most heat, and that way it should dry faster than the hopefully the leaves and the celery will dehydrate at the same time and be done. And I will bring y'all back as soon as they are done. It's time to get ready for bed, y'all. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everything is dehydrated. Finally, I let it go since we've got a lot of moisture in the area with rain. I let it go 15 hours, which is a little overkill, but hey, I'd rather have it overkilled and dried than not dry enough. This beautiful greenness here is dandelion leaves. So, the answer to the question that was posed to me, yes, you can dry dandelion leaves and put them in a good either blender or coffee grinder, and yes, you can make dandelion powder. So yes, you can dehydrate them and they are still absolutely gorgeous. I didn't dry a whole lot. Now I'm wishing I would have dried more. But guess what? The season is still young. So, guess what that means? There'll be more dandelion. More dandelion leaf harvesting. Which if you wanted to, you can gather the leaves and a few roots here and there, dry them, and make you dandelion tea. Let's see which one. No, that was going to go for the celery. This one's going for dandelion. I'm going to wait till I have more before I powder them. But yes, the answer is yes. You can definitely dehydrate dandelion greens without a problem. I would be using my containers to dump my trays into, but guess what? All my containers are dirty. Go figure. I gotta get back on my A game and get everything cleaned up. Well, wrong side, wouldn't you know it? And it's gonna stick to it. Oh, way too tired. So let's get the dandelion dust up. Get it in there. Look how beautiful that is. Absolutely beautiful green. Almost the exact same green as when it was fresh. So, yes. That is a definite yes. That you can do it. Dandelion greens. Next on to my first harvest of celery and dehydrating it. I don't want to waste anything. Look at that. Is that not just gorgeous? And definitely dry. Oh my gracious, it smells good, y'all. And yes, that is pure celery leaves and stems. It is going to be great to add to instant rice meals and so on. Okay, not the way I wanted to do it, but it's going to work. All completely dry, beautiful, and best yet, all organic. Now I got to wash those trays and get them ready, because I've got a lot I want to start dehydrating when I come back over for the shed. The stems, little bitty pieces. The leaves didn't shrink a whole lot, but the stems definitely did. But you know what? Don't matter. It's still going to taste good. And this way, I just get all that powder up and get it into the jar. Next time I dehydrate, I'm going to have my tubs clean. But simple, easy, homemade, y'all. And of course, yeah, you can break it down a little bit more, crunch it up. Or you could powder it if you want to. But there's almost a full pint jar of my first harvest of celery, y'all. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful green and wonderful. I gotta get a band for that. Of course, I can smell what's in the jar. And that's my first harvest of my homegrown organic celery. Now I'm trying to find the lid to the pin that fell off. Man, it's been a long day, y'all. A long, busy day. But you know what? I'm above ground and it's a good day. Lordy, the pin didn't want to go in the top. I'm going to get this a band on it. And I know this is the first of many more jars to come. Same way with the dandelion leaves now. That I know for a fact, because I couldn't remember, y'all. I have dehydrated so much in my lifetime, it's hard to keep up with everything at times. Yes, you can dehydrate and dehydrate dandelion greens, and I will say definitely 100% you can powder them up as well. I couldn't remember if they would dehydrate nicely like this, excuse me, or look horrible. Now we know the truth. Simple, easy. If I can do it, you can do it too. All you need are the ingredients and a dehydrator. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Just make sure that where you harvest your dandelion greens, you can also dry the flowers and you can dry the roots. But just remember, harvest responsibly, because every dandelion you dig up to get the roots, that plant's no more. Now, if you're in an area where there's just bukus of them, then yeah, thinning them out some won't hurt a bit. And plus, remember, harvest those seeds, and that way you can plant even more. Simple, easy, homemade, you can do it. Y'all stay positive. Know that you can do it. Stay safe and sound. Continue to stock your pantries with food that you can use to make other things that will sustain you. These will sustain you. You can add this to soup, to noodles. The list goes on and on. Instant rice mixes, which I need to make some more of those. But just think positive. Food that will sustain you and keep you alive. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. I'll see you soon. Y'all take care.